So how many of you are thinking that search ads are dying today? There's something called as engram analysis, okay, which is an advanced form of how you understand the search queries and figure out what is working and what's not working. So we are kind of heading into an era where you are going to have a lot lesser visibility into the clicks, and you have to still run ads, search ads, and make money out of it. The CPL phobia is the biggest thing. Okay, when I started, or even today, every client you interact, they have the CPL phobia. Oh, CPL बढ़ गया, CPL increased, right? So that is the biggest challenge that I noticed in this industry. Hello, good afternoon, Bangalore. Can you make some noise? Awake? Sleeping? Okay. Okay, just before I start, I want to understand how many of you are, from the e-commerce side of things, and how many for lead gen. So e-commerce, just raise your hands. Okay, lead gen. Okay, so I think there's a good mix of audience here. Thank you. So those of you who run Google search ads, okay, you would understand that these days, now what's happening is there's absolutely no control. And in simple terms, what Google is telling is to do hell with phrase and exact paths. So how do we scale search campaigns in a semantic world? Okay, so that's the brief that I'm going to talk about. Okay, so before that, quick introduction. I've been working in the digital marketing industry for almost 15 years. Worked in the education sector, scaled campaigns for almost 120 crores plus, and about 15 plus ad platforms I worked on. Okay, so back in 2009-10, when I started working on Google search ads, right? What I read and experimented is, there's nothing called as exact match or phrase match or anything like that. People were all figuring out what to do, and what happened was I also happened to fumble upon a coupon code which Google gave for 2,500 rupees, and that's where my digital marketing journey started. Okay, and those days I didn't even know how to implement conversion tracking, or there was not much around conversion tracking as well, and people will still work on the CTRs, because those days that was the North Star metric. And after that, the conversion trackings became more popular, and how to implement it and stuff like that. So after that, what happened is people realized that broad match purely is not working too much. It's actually giving us a lot of junk. So they started exploring other match types like phrase and exact, and they came up with different types of solutions, including the SCAG, or the single keyword ad groups, and it was a big thing for a while. And then Google also introduced something called as broad match modifier. Okay, so when Google introduced broad match modifier, a lot of them were happy because they were able to get the best of both worlds. And after a few years, what people started noticing on Google search query reports is that they started noticing the close match variants, and it was not much of a big thing, because a few of them were close match, and still the campaigns worked as you planned. And after some time, Google being Google, what they did is they phased out broad match modifier, and they said the behavior of phrase match is now being replicated, and BMM is gone. Okay, and then what they also did is they also reduced the visibility of search queries. Those days when we started, we were working on search ads, we used to get all the search query reports. But practically speaking, it was impossible to go through all the search queries and do the optimization. But whatever had a lot of clicks or cost, we would go through that and optimize the negative keywords. But even then, Google said, no, you shouldn't do that. We will decide what is good for you. And they kind of reduced the search query reporting visibility by 50%. And lastly, in the recent days, what they have done is Uh, don't do phrase match, don't do exact match. Just stay with broad match. That's what the writing is, or in simple terms, do well with phrase match and exact match. Okay, so this is a bit of a history about how search ads have evolved in terms of different match types and how the return on investments have changed and the strategies have changed. So, what options are we left with in today's? If you want to run ads today, how do you do? Okay, so one strategy is have tighter search teams, because if you have more relevant landing pages, relevant ads, and relevant ad groups, you will have better conversion rates, because you are spending a lot on the broad match. So to compensate for that, you need to have tighter search teams and higher relevancy landing pages. Okay, so the number of landing pages would increase. The search teams will be tighter and need to be tighter, and we can also add negatives as well, even though they're still only giving us 50%. But if we keep adding more negatives, we'll have slightly better results. Okay. Apart from this, there's something called as engram analysis, okay, which is an advanced form of how you understand the search queries and figure out what is working and what's not working. So you can also, do that and figure out, okay, these are the themes of search queries that are working for me, and these are the themes that are not working. And based on that, you can optimize the campaigns. Lastly, what else? Surrender control, give all the money to Google, and we all have to go broke. Okay, so that's the reality of today's search campaigns. But having said that, always marketers find a way. So the next thing that people today are actually discussing is, are search ads dying? So how many of you are thinking that search ads are dying today? Raise of hands, please. Okay, a few of them. How many of you think search ads are not dying? Okay, quite a lot of them. Okay, there is an answer to both. Okay, we have we all know that we live in the AI era where people are searching for different things, and they're searching differently as well. So the user behavior itself is now changing. So if you think search ads are dying, they are kind of dying, but we could also say that they're evolving. Okay, um, and if you notice, kids in the homes, if you have Google Home or Alexa, whatever it is, they don't like typing. They actually speak, right? So the next generation is actually using voice as a method to search. So obviously the user behavior is changing, and they're inputting long tail search queries these days, which is our generation, like those who are used to clicks. And the next generation is not even putting long tail search queries. They are putting in the voice as the input. So that's the thing, which is happening. And then we also know that the AI powered answers, or AI overviews as we call it. Some people call it AI SEO, whatever terms that are coming up, GEO, all of that, and that is also playing a part in how Google search is evolving. And if you analyze the AI search queries or AI overviews, they are actually predominantly shown for informational search queries. I think Deepan in the morning mentioned that the AI overviews are mostly for informational and not for the other types of search queries. Commercial intent and transactional, we are not getting AI overviews, but we are getting a lot of AI overviews for informational search queries. So these factors actually contribute, how Google is evolving. And there are a lot of other factors in favor of Google, where Google is a giant, right? They have the scale and the data. They have trillions of searches each year. And the other factor, why AI is cannot be taken just like that on face value is because AI today is far from accurate. Okay, while it is evolving, it is becoming more accurate day by day, but it is not 100%. I'll be showing you some examples of that. And if you notice, the younger generation is using voice, whereas we are still typing the queries, right? So it is difficult for human beings to evolve at the pace of AI. So we still have a long way before search ads die. Okay. The next thing is an important phenomena, which is if you have observed when AI overviews come, there are no clicks or zero clicks. Okay, but the user is getting the answer that they want. Okay, and if they have a commercial intent, either they will click or they will do a branded search. Okay, so we are kind of heading into a era where you are going to have a lot lesser visibility into the clicks, and you have to still run ads, search ads, and make money out of it. Okay, so this no click phenomena or the zero click phenomena is a big challenge for all of us, because you will not know who's going to click, but they will all be reading. So you still have to do all the efforts that you used to do in the past, like SEO, branding, all of that. And then you track the next level metrics, not just the leads or the clicks, but you have to track the next level metrics, which will be opportunities or sales qualified leads. That those kind of metrics you have to track. Okay. And apart from these factors, another factor which is in favor of Google is, people are using AI for automating their tasks, okay, which Google never did. So, it's not going to affect Google entirely, okay. So these are the kind of factors which are there today, that which we know, and maybe there are you have some more opinions as well, but we know that Google search ads are not dying, and they are here to stay. Okay, just a funny little example of why what do you call AI is not far from perfect. Somebody searched for cheese not sticking to pizza, and if you notice the answer, you can also add about 1/8 cup of non-toxic glue to sauce to give it more tackiness. Okay, so this is what AI actually gave as a result. Okay, so this is one of the examples. Okay, there are a couple of more. How many insects are there in Tropicana orange juice? So those of you, an average of 2 insects per cup. Okay, that's the answer that AI gave. Okay, so and one more example. Smoking while pregnant. Okay, doctors recommend smoking 2 to 3 cigarettes during pregnancy. So this is how AI actually started. Okay, so if you keep trying different sorts of queries, you will stumble upon these kind of examples. And I've tried these examples I've taken from the internet, and then I also wanted to try, okay, what's going to happen if I do the same search, and what are the results that are coming up. Okay, and before that, one small example from our own or my own client, where we searched for best Ireland consultant for Chandigarh, and it gave the first 2 results were decent. I know for the third and the fourth results were of brands which are unknown, and we've never heard of them in the market. Because I consult for a lot of education clients, I know who are the top players for that market, and the third and fourth answers were like completely off. The first 2 were right, the third and fourth were off. So this is from my own personal experience. I realized that okay, AI is there, it's intelligent and all that, or if you want to call it intelligent, but it's far from perfect. And then I did the search after I took those examples from Google, and you can see that smoking while pregnant gave a decent answer, which is you are at increased risk of a wide range of problems, including miscarriage and premature labor. So the answer Google has learned, or the AI overview has learned that okay, this is not the answer. When somebody is pregnant, they can't smoke 2 or 3 cigarettes. Okay, so the next example is how many insects are there in a Tropicana orange juice, and if you notice, Tropicana ruby red grapefruit juice contains cochineal extract derived from crushed female cochineal beetles. Okay, this is probably right. I'm not an expert in the subject, but at least the answer that the AI gave was slightly better than the last time, which was where it said 2 to 3 cups of, or 2 to 3 insects in a this thing, Tropicana juice. Okay. And the last example, tea is not sticking to pizza. Okay. And you can still see that, you can also add about 1/8 cup of non-toxic glue to the sauce to give it more tackiness. So this was back in March when I took those screenshots. And what I realized is it's learning, but these answers are being taken from a lot of user-driven content platforms like Reddit and Quora. And so you have to also focus your efforts there if you're doing SEO and the organic stuff, right? So these answers are predominantly coming up from user-generated content platforms like Quora and Reddit. Reddit is there referenced more in the US. Quora seems to be also getting some references in India, but it's still a mixed bag. Okay, and with AI overviews, we also are tracking some of these results for our clients. We've tracked about 57 individual AI results, and what we noticed is for the same search query on the same day, 2 different people search. One guy is getting a different answer, the other guy is getting a different answer. Okay, so again, this is probably what customization or personalization at scale, as Google calls it, right? So if personalization is at scale, it's working, then what are we optimizing for, right? So if you are going to have an AI overview for some 10 people and you're optimizing for, then you won't get the scale of results that you are wanting. So if you want to do SEO or even ads, right? If that personalization is at scale is working in the background, you will not get the ROI on your efforts, whatever efforts that you're doing on search. Okay, so that was a little on the funnier side of things as to what Google does, and this is before I actually go into this, I want to understand how many of you have heard the term semantic search. Okay, a few of them. Okay, for those who don't understand, I'll just give a brief. Like Google used to what they used to do is they used to do something called as keyword matching. Key, you enter a query and they will match those words in those query and they'll display the result. Okay, if those words are there in the ad or in the organic result, it will match. But what now Google has started doing is they've started deciphering the meaning of the search query and they want to match. Like, for example, in the education industry, if I can search for a study abroad consultant, they'll show some results. They'll also, if I search for a competitor's name, they'll show alternative competitors as well. Okay, so that's how they are evolving. So this is what is called a semantic search. And in performance marketers terminology, if you look at the the reports, the search query reports, you can always understand that it is somewhat closer to the term called close match variants. Okay, and this is how, again, I took this from the internet, so it is easier to understand. Like cat, okay, Susie is a cat, Jim likes cat, and Jim is a person. Susie likes fish. This is how the LLM models actually associate and put the words next to each other. Okay, and what we call as intelligent is nothing but mathematical probabilities like that. So if you put in a query or a prompt in Google or in any of these tools like ChatGPT or Perplexity or anywhere, okay, what they are doing is they are giving back an answer which has the highest probability of words coming next to each other. So that's why if you give it a sarcasm based or joke or humor based queries or inputs, these algorithms will fail. And you have already seen that, with the Tropicana juice and the pregnancy and all of those examples, right? So this is what semantic search is. And going forward, you will see that a lot of these, Google search ads that we are going to do is not going to be about the match types. It's going to be about the meaning and the intent behind it. So forget phrase match, exact match. Okay. All right. So what do we do? So how do we deal with this current situation? Okay. So how do we scale search campaigns? To just give a little bit more context, I manage a lot of search campaigns. I've been managing for almost 15 years. So based on that, this is my hypothesis for now, which is you use broad match. Okay, of course, if the budget supports, otherwise you still have to go with the phrases and the exact. But if the budget supports, you use broad match, and then you use the first party data and the negatives, and you also implement tighter search teams. If you had broader search teams, like 100 keywords in an ad group before, don't do that anymore, because you're not going to have the same efficiency going forward. And I'll also be explaining a few recent things that Google has announced in August, in the end, and kind of what's happening, or my sense of things is, Google grew on the fact that before Google, I think there's a little bit of history I'd like to give. CPMs were the method of auctions, okay, or the cost per milli. For 1,000 impressions, you pay me. Whether you get a click or not, you still have to pay me. So that was the method that or Yahoo and the previous online platforms were following. Then Google brought in this cost per click, and they grew on that efficiency factor. That okay, cost per click means even if you have 10,000 impressions and no clicks, we will only charge you for, we will not charge you. So that way they grew on the back of small scale advertisers who wanted efficiency. But today, Google, what it's doing is with the focus on broad match, it's actually working the other way around. It's not budget friendly anymore. It's actually big budget advertiser friendly. So be very cautious about how you choose your clients. If you're an agency, or if you're an in-house marketer, how do you want to go about a specific set of campaigns? And alternatively, you can also think about it, Google as a list building tool, because you're not going to have what you call too many clicks. Zero click phenomena is happening with the AI overviews. But Google has also announced that they will be launching ads in AI overviews soon, so which we are awaiting yet. But we can use Google search as a list building tool of bottom of funnel customers. And what we can do is use that quality audience and retarget them, get more conversions. So this is one way of looking at how you can build those search campaigns. And lastly, if you're managing large scale campaigns and or big budget advertisers, stability over efficiency, because small scale advertisers efficiency is everything. For large scale advertisers, stability is everything. You can't have a day where 100 people don't have leads. Okay, it's just disaster. So if you have 100 salespeople and they don't have leads, or they don't have anything to do, it's a disaster for big budget advertisers. So depending on the context, you have to decide your strategy. But largely what it's becoming is, with broad match, it's becoming big budget advertiser friendly. And we have to play around with it with the first approach, which is first party data, negatives, and tighter search teams. Okay, since I am more from the education industry, or I've also worked with a few other different types of industries as well. But the CPL phobia is the biggest thing. Okay, when I started, or even today, every client you interact, they have the CPL phobia. Oh, CPL बढ़ गया, CPL increased, right? So that is the biggest challenge that I noticed in this industry. And from a business owners or business standpoint, idle time of their counselors or the salespeople is a big cost in their balance sheet. So marketing and idle time of their salespeople is one of the biggest costs. And a lot of you would correlate with the third point, which is decision maker trust. um, what they do is when you go and interact with clients, okay, they trust their teams more than an agency. Okay, so and the only way to make them understand is you have to bring factual data in front of them. Otherwise, you don't stand a chance because they trust their internal teams more than an agency. And next thing that I notice is lead nurturing. Okay, so lead nurturing, absolutely no processes, not no plans, no drip campaigns, nothing. So they don't have any plan. They just want the lead. They want to do some, calling, follow-ups, and all of that. And if it doesn't convert, that's it. That's the thing that they do. They don't have a nurturing plan, no campaigns, no drip, nothing. So this is a common problem across industries, but in education industry, I see a lot. So I've mentioned this. And then salespeople, being salespeople, they want to have leads. Okay, get 10 leads. 10 out of 10 they want sales. Okay, so that's the mentality of the psychology of salespeople. They don't want to work with 100 leads. They want all their leads to get converted, which is not a reality. But I'm being a little bit dramatic. But they have a preference for bottom of the funnel leads to be more professional in terms of what is the challenge. Okay, then lead quality complaints. This is a huge challenge with almost any customer. Okay, so you go and ask them feedback, they'll call up their few team members, and they'll say, okay, no sir, bad quality, that's it. Whatever was there in the last few leads that they remember, they'll just tell. They won't give you a database analysis of what's there, what's not there in their overall funnel. They'll just give you top of the mind feedback. So this is another challenge that we see in the with the customers. And then call scheduling challenges. This is another problem with any salespeople, or specifically in the education industry, because if they are working with a student or with any parent, they can't take another call if it's already scheduled. So it's a challenge at both ends. So we can't really do pre-call scheduling. And the next problem that I see with clients is CRM proficiency. Customer relationship management software, they're not proficient at all. I've seen people being 5% proficient to almost 70%, but I've never seen anyone who's 100% proficient with the software that they bought to improve their performance. Okay, and software being software, it's a little complex for non-technical people as well. They don't understand it, and it's the phobia or the lethargy that comes in, and they don't want to fully implement it. And one more challenge specific to this industry that I noticed is the life cycle solutions. There are no life cycle solutions for this industry. So again, people face some challenges here in this industry. And this is kind of also applicable to other industries, but more from my experience. Some of the key metrics that I or my team swears by is cost per opportunity or cost per sales qualified lead. This has been a game changer. This allowed us to scale the platforms from just back in 2014-15 when we got those clients. They were fully dependent on Google, no other ad platform. And when we suggest Facebook or any other ad platform, they'll be like, no, these leads are bad, the quality is bad. Of course, but you have to kind of put it in a lens of data and understand it. And then we started presenting them cost per opportunity reports, and then the founders and the clients started understanding that okay, there is some sense in what we are doing. So they started accepting it, and then we started also telling them what is the lead to opportunity rate. Opportunity is the term we use for sales qualified leads. So that also played a role, because if you're spending 10,000 rupees on Google for one opportunity, and you're spending 8,000 rupees on Facebook, but you still have to do some more follow-ups. Google will give you in 10 leads, Meta will give you in 15 or 20 leads. So there is a quality difference, but the cost was still okay for the business owners. So these two metrics really changed the way how we looked at different ad platforms, and that's how we actually scaled from being dependent on one platform to almost 15 different ad platforms. This is again specific to the industry, or the salespeople are called counselors. So the number of opportunities a salesperson receives per day is an important metric. In simple terms, based on the experience that we've had, we've come down to an understanding that if a salesperson has one opportunity per day for a work day, so work day means you have to take off all the holidays. So in a 365-day year, you can probably look at 250 days as the working days. And if you have 250 opportunities in a year, then it becomes much more feasible for them to work throughout the year without any issues. The next metric that we also track is inquiry plus follow-up rate. Inquiry is the new lead that which comes in, and follow-up is the process where they are chasing the lead and then they are trying to close it. So these two metrics we had to combine because people being people, they forget updating the leads. Okay, so if you just take the inquiry rate, it is incorrect. If you take the follow-up rate, it is incorrect. So we had to combine these two metrics to get a better sense of whether during that last week report, if we take whether they are properly following up the lead or not, is something that we got. Another interesting metric that we look at on a weekly basis is percentage of spend to opportunity rate. Okay, so let's say we got 100 opportunities. We got 30 from Google, another 50 from Meta, another 10 from LinkedIn. And what is the spend that we did in each platform, and how much percentage of opportunities that they contributed. So this is another metric that helps us understand whether we are being biased towards a platform or not so biased. And then historical LTO, or the lead to opportunity rate, city-wise. If the client has many branches, but if the client doesn't have many branches, you can just take the single metric. And lastly, city-wise lead stage. Again, if you have a lead stage report, city-wise is very important because there are people sitting in each and every office and they have to make the sale, they have to hit their targets. So this is something that these are the metrics that we kind of swear by. And we also implemented first-party data. Okay, and during first-party data implementation, what we first hypothesized was that we have to optimize for the North Star metric, which is admissions. Okay, and when we started with that, we realized the admission data comes back to the platform only once a year. Okay, till that point we don't have any data, and if we optimize for that particular metric or admissions, it will never work because it has to wait almost like 365 days to get that metric. So then we went one step lower, and then we decided, we'll go and look into what else can we optimize for. Then we started looking into other stages, lead stages, right? And in that, we started looking at, different lead stages. Okay, somebody has submitted a document, somebody has filed for an application, somebody is still potential but not given any documents. So we created these separate individual events, and then we started implementing it in the system. It was one step better than the first scenario, where if you optimize for admissions, you will never optimize. But here what happened was the data was fragmented. Okay, again, there is different talks today about should we go granular or should we not. In this case, we went granular first, and we realized the volume is not sufficient for the ad platforms to optimize, to train the data. So when the volume is not sufficient, you will again not have any efficient results, right? So what we did is the next step. We went and said we will combine all these bottom of the funnel lead stages into a single lead stage called BOFU, and then which has higher or lesser turnaround time. And then we will create one single event and we'll send it back to the software or the ad platforms. Once we arrived at this third stage, we realized that we've now got better, or third and fourth stage put together. So we've kind of now got the right formula. Okay, we can't go granular because the volume is not there. If there is volume like e-commerce, like a big client, and you have a lot of volume, then you can optimize for each and every individual event. But in this case, the volume was not there, so we had to go one level up to get that data volume and the frequency as well. And then another last thing that we also realized, that when you're setting these conversion goals in Google Ads, you cannot have more than one as primary conversion goal. So if you have more than one set as primary, again, the data will be incorrect and the optimization will not be done. So when we implemented first party data, we realized depending on the context of the client, you have to optimize for what is feasible. And we learned, like, after failing in the first level, then the second, then the third, and the fourth. So it took about like 4 different steps for us to, get to the kind of efficiency that we need. And this is just a quick screenshot of where you can look at this data. If you look at it again, sorry, the visual is not clear, but it's recording conversions. It is having enhanced conversions are active, and it is also showing diagnostics. So if you go and click on the diagnostics, you can see the quality of events as excellent. And once again, we implemented CustomerLabs here. So you can see the quality of events being excellent. There were some failures, but it's not that much. So we were able to, get the kind of results that we wanted. And different actions, different kind of metrics. Okay. So this is how we implemented first party data into our clients. And we learned that, okay, depending on the context of the client, the volume, the frequency, you have to change your strategy. There is no one size fits all kind of a strategy to or one size fits all answer to anything, and you have to kind of optimize accordingly. And this is about what has happened in Google. And last week I was reading up on Google that, okay, when I started making this presentation about 4 months back or so, I said to hell with phrase match and exact match. But today Google has launched something called as AI Max for search. Okay, so and they're saying we are going keywordless. Okay, so basically saying do away with keywords altogether. Okay, you give me the money. What Zuckerberg's, if you notice the Vishnu slide in the morning, give me the money and we'll decide what to do with it. Google is almost following the same thing, and they have brought this feature called AI Max, which is available in the search campaigns today. You can go and enable it, and you can kind of forget your money, and they will actually start looking at. I'm being dramatic, but the reality is you have to put your keywords, and based on the keywords, creatives, landing pages, it will start generating conversions based on this data. Based on this learning, it will start generating conversions, meaning you wouldn't have put that keyword in your campaign, and Google will still generate a conversion for that particular keyword. That's what is called keywordless. And they're also adding a couple of things there, which is the final URL optimization. So if you have multiple landing pages, they'll also decide where to send. And one more thing is location is again based on the intent. They will decide whether to show an additional ad. So that is something that has come up recently. So if today what's happening is AI Max is kind of heading to a space where phrase exact are gone. Now keyword itself is gone. So that's where we are here. So that's about my presentation for today. Any questions?
First of all, that point about optimizing for BOFU audiences, I was actually having that question for real estate perspective, because the conversion time is at least 3 months, right? That was like great insight. You said using search as a high quality list building tool.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Okay, so what list building means is, right, with Google search or search in general, when people have come to a stage where they want a particular solution, that's when they will go and search. Okay, so when they go and search, they've already come to a mindset of taking some action. So that's why they're researching, they're spending their time, right? So what this particular list or this particular data set is extremely valuable, because nobody will convert before they are ready. So being from real estate, right, you will understand that the cost is very high, the ticket size is very high.
Correct.
So maybe they have a plan of buying a flat or plot, villa, whatever it is, 1 year down the line, but they're searching today. Okay, and if you don't capture these leads, when 1 year down the line, when they are ready to make a purchase, somebody else would have already built a brand with them. Okay, so that's why you have to use Google search as a list building tool to go far ahead in their journey. Ahead in the journey means like 6 months, 1 year back, when they're in their top of the funnel or early stage research. Show them that you are the brand that they should go with, and you capture their data, or if not the data, at least the first party data, the cookies, or what cookies are going to go anyways. But get them somehow interact with the brand, and build the brand. So brand building takes time, trust building takes time. So you don't have to wait till the end when four other competitors are competing. You can build 6 months, 1 year before that. If you start looking at it, you will get them ahead, and then you have much higher chances of converting.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yes.
That fit it will complete even the search campaign, right? The performance max.
Yes.
I mean, you've been working with this from past 15 years. What is your take on this performance max campaign?
I didn't get the
What is your take on this? The performance max campaigns, right? What do you suggest? Should we go with that or not? Because that includes even the search campaigns, right?
See, again, there is a lot of context to it, right? So Performance Max will work with quality data signals. If you don't give it quality data signals, it's not going to perform the right way. And I'm sure a lot of people in this room have tried Performance Max, and they would have mixed results, right? The reason is sometimes it just clicks, sometimes it doesn't, because it doesn't have the right data signal. So if you have a proper system feedback loop, then Performance Max is a good investment. But if you don't have a proper feedback loop, then Performance Max is firing in the dark, right? Shooting in the dark of kind of a situation where it'll do display, it'll do YouTube, it'll also show your ad in search, and the budget has to support such large targeting. But if you're looking at efficiency, it won't give you the efficiency that you want. So depending on the budget of the client, okay, if it's a big budget client, you don't know what to do with the ad spend, you have a lot but you don't know what to do, then obviously Performance Max is a good option. It'll help because Google understands that the same person is going on YouTube, the same person is coming back to search. So when you're logged in, they know all of that okay, this is the same person who's looking at a video about say a project, real estate project, and they're coming back and searching for real estate project, right? So that way they understand that, so they have that advantage. So depending on the budget and the feasibility, you can decide whether you want to do Performance Max or not. But in general, when you're doing Performance Max, set up the feedback loop properly so that you are able to get some better results. Otherwise, spending on display, YouTube, and all the other platforms is a big waste of money.